So, Conference Report made a video recently about what would make life worth it. For those who are suffering. And he mentioned how he's doing pretty well right now, but wasn't always doing so well. And what about people who are suffering? What would it take for them to know that their suffering is worth it? That it's better times. That things are really better in the end. Well, for me, I'm not doing so well right now. In fact, I've been feeling pretty shitty life lately. I'm stressed out, tired, and basically just really, really hate my job. But because of a bad economy, it's hard to find something else. And like I mentioned, the threat of poverty is that gun to your head that keeps you doing shit you don't want to do. So yeah. But I'm also an eternal optimist. I know that my current suffering is not going to last forever. That better times will lie ahead. Better opportunities will open themselves up. And even if they don't, that's okay, because there's something bigger than myself that I'm a part of. I do think that we all have some innate sense of self-transcendence, whether or not you think of it in a religious sense or not. I mentioned this before in a video about death. We want to leave behind a legacy, and so I think there's always that to hope for. That even if you have to suffer through life, that you can do something to make life better for others. And from a purely materialist position, this doesn't seem to make much sense, because you won't be around to enjoy it. But in a sense, I think you will be around to enjoy it. Not in the whole kind of heaven, being up in heaven looking down from the clouds kind of thing. It's more like, I talked about the presence of the past before, about the idea that our experiences, although they fade from subjective immediacy, have a kind of objective immortality. That there's they kind of live on in each new moment it's created. So in a sense, bring theism into it. I do believe that our experiences live on in God, and we become God in that sense. That they transform God and become part of God's nature. But okay, religious jargon aside, there's still that kind of self-transcendence thing that I mentioned. A lot of people want to feel better by thinking about others who have it much worse. But I always thought that was kind of perverse. I mean, how am I supposed to feel better by thinking about the people of the Gulf who lost their livelihoods, and they're and they'll never see those oysters or fish again. People who've worked in those places for generations. Of course they're suffering more than I am, but is thinking about their suffering supposed to make me feel better? For me, it just makes me feel worse. The idea is that somehow I'm supposed to feel guilty for feeling bad about myself because they got it worse. But then you're just adding guilt to your already shitty feelings about yourself. So what good is there in that? So I mean, I think we got to, when we're feeling down, when we're suffering, we got to examine what lessons we can learn from that suffering, what it has to offer us. But we can always return to the present moment. We can always realize that there's something greater than ourselves at play. And whether you call that God or the universe or what have you, I think we all kind of intuitively sense it. So that's my thoughts for now. Peace.